What is up? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to interview a good friend and old coaching client of mine, Juan, and he's going to share some insider tips and tricks on how to grow a successful creative agency in this day and age. So hope you're going to enjoy this, and let's get right into it. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this video. Today, I actually decided to bring back on the channel a good friend of mine and also an old coaching client, Juan. And yeah, he is an amazing guy from Colombia, actually. And he built like a really big and successful creative agency. I've been working with him for I've worked with him for like a period of time, around a year ago at this point, and or a bit more actually. And yeah, I thought I would bring him back on the channel. He already been once. So if you guys are interested in the previous interview, go ahead and check it out in the description. But thought it would be worth to bring him back on, see kind of like where he went with his agency in the last 8 months. Last time we talked, he was at like $8,000 a month monthly run rate. So I know he had some growth in the season. So yeah, just thought I would bring him on and have him share some golden nuggets, maybe talk about life business. So thank you so much for coming, Juan. It's a pleasure to have you here and an honor.
Absolutely, my man. As always, happy to be here, and also like looking forward to the conversation. Just sharing whatever this conversation goes. Let's do the update.
Yeah, thank you. It's, to be honest, like it's funny because looking back, we did the interview like 8 months ago, right? And I think I had probably like what, I don't know, I had like way less subscribers, like 30,000 or whatever, almost 100,000 less. So hopefully some new people are gonna see this as well. And by the way, Juan has his own channel, so if you're interested in his stuff, like check it out. Open it in a new window. Don't click off this video, like new window only. But yeah, anyways, for those of you who didn't watch the first interview, Juan, could you give like a little bit of a background of you, like, you know, kind of like where you grew up, how you got into the creative agency industry, you know, a little bit about how we worked together in the beginning, and I guess also after that we could talk about like where you are right now and what you guys are doing at Hex Media. So yeah, can you go back a little bit in time?
Absolutely. So, I mean, my man, it's been definitely like a journey. Let's see where can we start this. But basically, to what I remember, the last time that we discussed, I was simply at like 8,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's like a little bit about it. Previously to that, as I probably mentioned, I was like into e-commerce, did a little bit of drop shipping for like 1.5, 2 years. Got a little bit of experience there, but I don't know. I just wanted to switch to another like model that gives me way more profit, because what happened with e-commerce is that, yeah, you do like these massive numbers in revenue, but the profit is 5, 10, 50%, nothing that is really attractive. And I know that the agency space was just like much different, right? So that's about the time that I actually contacted you as well, when I wanted to do that switch. We discussed for a little bit. I told you that that I had like followed you for some time. We hopped in the call and jumped into, at that time, like clients for creatives. Just to
Which
get
was
help.
kind of like you know, an old program. We actually no longer do that, unfortunately. Might do like a revamp and kind of like rebrand it. I think it was a pretty shitty name looking back, but anyways, yeah. So you got into like basically my personal coaching program where I was helping you one on one. For those
Yeah,
of you guys who are listening and don't know what Clients for Creatives was, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Was just like getting coaching from you directly. You gave me some guidance, very valuable guidance. I told you at the beginning, I was just willing to put in the work, but I needed like that.
The clarity, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I needed. So after that, took me a couple of months to get a little bit of traction. Finally, sign one client, and as you also say, when it rains, it pours. Totally true. When you sign one client, it's just like kind of compounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. Already, I think that was like what, 2 years ago. at this point?
No, I think no, like the last time we did the last interview at 8K a month when you were at that point, it was 8 months ago. So not even that long, like
Oh,
it hasn't even been a year. And I think when we did that, we started working together like a little bit under a year before that. So I don't know, like when you first started, I think it's been probably like 16 months or so.
I
16,
see.
18 months, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even better, right? And
Yeah.
what can I tell you? Life has been crazy, definitely.
Yeah, and you were like you were born in Colombia, right? And like
Yeah,
raised there. Yeah, because a lot of people, use that as kind of like a excuse if they are from not the US or Canada or UK. They are like, oh, I can't do it because like I live in this very poor country, whatever. And like, sure, there are some extreme cases, but like if you have a computer, if you have Wi-Fi connection, like you don't really have anything stopping you at the end of the day, right?
yeah, totally, totally. I believe that. I mean, when someone doesn't want to do something, they will always find like a limitation. So yeah, that's about it. Exactly what you say. I'm from Colombia. I am from Cali specifically. That it's a city here in Colombia. People, I don't know. Like people might feel um, limited sometimes because yeah, I'm from this third world country. Maybe I don't have the same opportunities that other people in the US, in Canada, Australia, whatever it may be. But if you have access to the internet, and you also, I do have to say that I have an advantage, and that's knowing English. That's something like crucial, to be honest. But if you have like those two components, you can make whatever you want happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that, as you mentioned, like from Colombia, right now the agency is doing um, better. It's better. Is doing better than before.
You mind
Right now,
sharing some numbers, like in terms of like also revenue, like how many people you have on clients, like just some updates after
uh,
that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In terms of revenue, right now I am between 20 to 25K in revenue at this moment. I actually lose like a couple of clients. Have been taking a couple of L's this past a week, 2 weeks, or this past few weeks.
And what
But
was your
yeah,
top?
actually.
What was your top also?
I think probably the biggest month was around almost 40,000, like
Almost 40.
35,000, or yeah, and profits are high,
Yeah, yeah,
are
that's
very
great.
high. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of how many people do I have in the team right now? I have like 13 people that is working full time in house. Multiple people. Most of them are video editors, great video editors. Love my team. Love what I have been able to create, like this unit that I have been able to consolidate.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing team, a lot of video editors, two growth managers, one project manager, two graphic designers, and one or two BAs as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to scaling the operations even more.
Yeah, that's incredible. And like just the fact like 2 years ago there was nothing, there. And the fact you were able to go from like not having any clients or any sort of like a creative agency to doing like I guess at your current run rate like 300 to even like 400,000 a year on the higher end. That's like really, really impressive. So in the beginning, like for those of you guys who are wondering, like, okay, how when you mentioned the fact that I was like helping you a little bit in the beginning and coaching, like what did we actually do? Well, guys, here's basically what we did. It's nothing like super complicated. It's about putting together an offer that's like something the market actually wants, clarifying it, like having a solid offer, a solid foundation. Obviously, you need to have a niche, and yeah, just like have direction in the basics. Choose like an appointment setting method. So whether that's outbound where you send emails or Loom videos or whatever. I think for you, like the main method was Loom videos, right? So yeah, like just choose one thing or choose even inbound, whatever it is for you, and like go all in on it, become really good at it. And I know with Juan, like he was fucking grinding those Loom videos for a while. Like I remember when you first kind of like moved out of your parents' place, you just got in like a room and I saw your spreadsheets. Like you were doing everything I told you. You were tracking your numbers. and you were doing like so many outreaches every single day. Like you didn't even see results from it for over a month, I think, but you just had like this proper like mindset and this like iron, mind and like insane focus. You just kept up the outreach consistently, high volume looms for a couple months, and then boom, you like your income shot up, and you haven't really like slowed down. If I look at it, from the outside. So that's great, and obviously very impressive. And I think people are probably wondering, like, all right, that's cool. So it's just the basics. It's just having a good like good niche, good offer, having a systemized way of getting new appointments. Obviously, knowing how to close those people, becoming better at sales, and delivering the service and building out your team to do that. Like, it's okay. So it's simple, but like if you think back, what would you say were like some of the biggest roadblocks, both from 0 to, let's say, 5K a month, where you could go full time with it, and then going from 5 to like 20, 25? Like, what would you say were the biggest roadblocks at these 2 points? Or if you want to, you can break it down even more. And how did you overcome each one of them?
Absolutely, love the question. Bunch of things that I want to touch on for this topic. Before jumping into that, brother, I do want to say a couple of things
Yep.
regarding like your comments, your help, and I mentioned this previously, but was like honestly crucial for me. Crucial. Why? Because I had like the work ethic, but sometimes work ethic is not enough if you don't have clarity or if you are not taking the right actions. Those right actions, you can distinguish them only with experience and
Mm.
successful experience, and that's exactly what you had and what you provided to me. So it was crucial. Regarding the focus, yeah, it's very important to always be dialed in on the actions that you know are going to get, that have the highest like potential ROI, and that for an agency owner, depending on the stage, is going to be outreach, focusing on outreach. If you stop doing outreach, don't expect to get any results. Yeah, you can work on your SOPs, on your offer, but if you are not putting it out there, it's going to get nowhere. So
Yeah.
very important to have that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Also, and now going back specifically to your question, my man. So from 0 to 5K, uh, I mean, honestly, guys, if you apply this that I'm going to tell you, it will just make things like so much faster and easier. I think that I lost many months at the beginning because I was too hands-on on the service delivery side of things. I also have like a little bit of experience with the graphic design and the video editing. So I wanted to, it was like looking back, it was so dumb of a mindset, but I was like, hey, I want higher profits. So I'm going to get like 1, 2 clients. I'm going to deliver most of that myself, edit the videos, whatever. And I'll have like, I don't know, 80, 90% margins, right? Yeah, but 80% or 90% margins on 4K, like what's that, right? I'll prefer 5% of 100 million.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's, you know
True.
what I mean? So the most important thing that I would say is that the first client that you sign, immediately hire someone else, even if you have zero profit, from that client. The reason is that usually what I have seen, for example, if we are talking about a video editor can, the maximum capacity, it's about 2 clients. So if you sign one client, assign that client for the video editor, you will have 100% of your time free to get other client, and that other client that you sign, you can assign them to that video editor that you hired, and all of that is going to be profit already, and now you can keep building. You know what I mean? That's a little
Yeah.
bit of the how's it called, like paper math for
Yeah, like
that.
you make your profits on the second client is what you're saying.
Exactly, because after that you just keep like repeating the cycle.
Yeah.
Sign clients, hire people, sign clients, hire people, sign clients, hire people. I'll say that's for 0 to 5K. From high 5K to above, you already need to start thinking into systems. This is something that you have probably heard like a million of times in multiple video systems, SOPs, but what does that actually means? for me, when I start to implementing it specifically, it meant having a SOPs document with probably 40 pages of just actions that are like repeated constantly for each of the roles within my. The reason why that is so important is because we as humans, we make mistakes, we forget things, whatever. So if there's like a step-by-step procedure for each of the actions that are constantly repeated within your agency, whatever that agency it's about, you'll just be able to make sure that each person that you hire is going to get done what you want them to get done without mistakes. So that's one thing. The other thing is that once you start hiring more and more people, you don't want to like having to be involved and having to retrain every new person that joins your agency or joins your team. You want to be like hands off and kind of like a little bit of remove yourself from that process. So that's why SOPs are very important. Also, start looking into Zapier automations and start to automate things that are repetitive and that could be automated. Besides that, I will also say doing like onboarding document of the an onboarding document for each of the people that you hire, making sure that it's just a step-by-step process that everyone that joins your team knows that they have to follow, and they will start to deliver the results that you want them to deliver. So that's about it for the system side of things. I think that's the biggest thing for 0 to 20K. And also just having in mind that you need a system for the client acquisition side of things. Because like, for example, myself, it's not sustainable that I keep with that level of time investment for the looms at this stage. I need to remove myself from that process, having someone else to record the looms, having someone else to do that outreach. So yeah, I'll say that's like the macro picture about it.
And
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I totally agree with like both of these things. Like in the beginning, like 0 to 5 to 8K, like as much as people say like, oh, 8K a month, that's 6 figures a year, like, bro, it's so simple. Like if you break it down, yes, it seems like this big, complicated thing when you're getting started, or like it seems so far, but it's really not. Like it's getting basically like 3 clients on a retainer, and boom, you are at 8K a month, right? Or however your pricing works. But that is really just about you getting out of the service delivery as soon as possible, and you just like slamming sales all day long. Like that's all you are doing at that point, pretty much, because you don't need to go fancy. You don't need to be designing your website all day long and like doing podcasts and shit like that. Like that's not how you will get there the fastest. The fastest way to do it is by you just going ham on outreach, doing sales and closing people for your service, right? Like that's pretty much the main thing. And then from that point, you'll need to move into more of like an operator if you want to scale like a creative agency personally. And a lot of creative people are not really okay with that. Like they don't want to get out of the service delivery, but you need to decide like what do you want, because you might say like, oh, I want to make more money, but by you also saying like, but I don't want to give out control because I'm the best at video editing or whatever, it's like, okay, you say you want that, but you're actively choosing not to make more money by not outsourcing it. And then if you're like, oh, but like what if I hire someone and they mess up and the client's gonna like sue me or whatever, like, well, like it's not gonna happen, and also it's ego, a lot of ego when you think like you are the best at doing something. Because like even with me when I was doing outreach or appointment setting, right, like I thought, oh, I'm the best at doing this, and then I hired people who are better than me at it, and then I realized like, oh shit, like I'm actually not as crazy talented at everything, and like there are better people out there on the marketplace. So anyways, I went a little bit off topic, but I totally agree. One thing I wanted to ask though is like regarding the team building aspect, was that something that came to you naturally, like hiring people, taking on responsibility? And also like one thing that's big is like, keeping an eye on them, staying in communication with them every single day. Like, was that something that came naturally or not? And if not, like, how did you get into, this role, and how did you get comfortable in checking up with people every single day and making sure like everything doesn't fall apart basically?
I mean, before getting into it as well, wanted to do, I think, a valuable parenthesis for people that are just getting started, for freelancers, as you mentioned, that are still on that, like, um, I don't know, analysis of, hey, should I start my agency, hiring people, or should I take care of that myself? So when you're doing outreach, the hardest thing to do is going to be signing that first client. For me, it was super hard. You actually helped me with that first client that I appreciate a lot as well. Because so here's like the thought process behind it. The first client is going to serve you as your case study and kind of like prove to others, proof of competence to your second client. So my advice will be that that first client, if aim to get like someone that is very like high profile, someone that is like a big entrepreneur that gives you a lot of credibility if you are able to work with him. Try
Has
to do
fame, basically like has fame. Yeah.
exactly. Try to do that. Try to work for free for them, because what you are getting out of them is maybe the video testimonial that you can set that expectation upfront. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I also wanted to mention is that moving forward after signing that first client and after just getting that video testimonial, whatever it may be, all of the clients that you sign, focus on high ticket. Focus on high ticket. That was also a mistake. Even after you gave me the advice, the same advice, sometimes people, and I include myself in that, we don't listen, right? We don't
Yeah.
listen. So I went for the low ticket clients because I wanted to sign people for $800, $1,000. That's first of all, it will take you hundreds of years to get to the levels that you want. Second of all, those are usually not good clients. The most demanding, the most stressful. It's not the good route. So go for high ticket, nothing below 2,000,
Yeah.
I would say, per month.
And
So
funny
that's
enough,
something very.
sorry to
Ah,
cut you off, but like funny enough, once you actually started like properly switching to high ticket, that's kind of when you hit the 40K month pretty soon, right? Like,
yeah, literally. So yeah,
yeah,
very important switch. Very important switch.
yeah.
Now, now regarding specifically your question, bro, for team building, no, didn't come naturally. Didn't come naturally. I stuck at it, to be honest, and I'm still learning. I'm not a pro at all. I'm still learning every day. What I am doing right now, it's just like proactive action. I know that I have like a lot of plenty of deficiencies as a team leader, as a manager, as an operator. So I just educate myself, watch podcasts from people that I look up to. I'm reading right now, for example, this book from it's in Spanish, but it's from Patrick Bet David, the guy from Valuetainment and PHP agency, that is called The Next Five Moves. I love the guy, love the book. Also, another book that I read regarding systems and managing people overall, it's The E-Myth. Love those books. And anyway, I'm just educating myself.
What's the
So
name? Sorry.
for the E-Myth, the
Oh,
E-Myth.
E-Myth Revisited, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
From Herberg, something Herberg, I think.
Okay, cool.
Have you read?
Guys, if you are interested, just like look up the Myth
Yeah,
Revisited, something like that. Yeah, great
yeah,
book.
amazing book, amazing book. Yeah, very simple. It will not get you like the nitty gritty of the how you can build SOPs, but will change your mindset regarding just like systematizing your operations. But anyway, going back to team building, so kind of flow very naturally. Made a lot of mistakes on the first hires that I did. I just wanted also, very mistake that I did is that I wanted to remove myself from doing the things, and that led me to hire fast and hire bad. So I hired people that wasn't qualified, that I had to like, because at the end of the day, I'm still responsible for the work, right? So I was doing the quality control, checking things, and just the communication of like revising the things of those first people that I hired took me a lot of time as well. So very bad mistake. You need to hire like good people, qualified people. That's something very important that I learned as well. Also, to be honest, I kind of lost track on specifically the question. So will you mind
Yeah,
reminding me?
it was basically just that, like, whether, you know, team building came naturally to you, and if not, like, how did you get into this habit of checking in with the team daily, and, like, obviously, like, finding the right people and getting them to want to work with you is hard enough on its own, and, like, getting them invested in your vision, but also, like, you know, shifting into this role of being the leader who needs to, like, oversee things, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So something now that you mentioned, something that I think is very important is that besides, this is something that it's my perspective. Besides the need for you to become or develop as a leader, systems are going to be everything, because there's a point where, for example, I know that my organization or my company is not that big yet, but it's still like 13 people. If I have to jump on calls with everyone every day and check it with everyone, it's going to be very hard to do it properly if I didn't have systems. So that's why everything is. I have all of the SOPs that I mentioned. I have a lot of other systems and organization within the agency. For example, simple thing that I started to implement once the team grew is every day everyone needs to send within a thread in a specific Slack chat that we have the end of the day report, the EOD report. So they just say what they did for the day. That's something that we check. That's a measurement of control, that they know that they are being held accountable. Also implementing calls. To be totally frank, this is something that I need to work on, because I have a lot of resistance to just like calls. But ideally, I would say at least one call per week to check in with everyone, to inspire that sense of responsibility. Right? They know
Yeah.
that they are doing actions, but that you are checking them and are like expecting from them excellence. On top of that, also hiring the right roles. My project manager, that is my right hand, it's a gene. It's a beast. It's an amazing project manager, and he kind of oversees and coordinates a lot of the work within
Mhm.
the agency as well. So yeah, I will say it's a matter of those three things: hiring the right people and putting them in the right places, in the right roles to oversee for you, putting measurements that are just for control and keeping people accountable, and just systematizing things within your agency. So even if you are not there telling them specifically what to do, they already know what to do and what to execute on and what's the expectation. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's a little bit about the team
Cool.
building.
Yeah, I think that's very valuable. So thank you for that. Now next question is gonna be, like, still kind of related to this, but just very simply, like, can you tell me the order you would recommend someone who wants to get into this, like, a creative agency business, I guess? The order of hiring, because I mean, I would guess the first one is obviously like an edit. So if you're doing, so just for you guys who don't know, like, Juan has basically like a done for you YouTube agency, right? So it's kind of like the same thing I started with as well. Just overall do the thumbnails, SEO, video editing, and stuff like that. So for you, I guess the first hire was a video editor, I would assume. But, like, for someone, yeah, who wants to get into something similar, um, like, yeah, what are the key hires you would first get, and in what order? Like, maybe
Yeah,
the first key people. Obviously, like, video editors just scale up as you get more clients, so you can just say that once, and then the rest of them as well.
yeah, sounds good. So in terms of order, video editor, as you mentioned, of course, because that's like the main labor, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing. Second thing I will recommend is actually like a growth manager. That's how I call them. And a growth manager is simply someone that has experience on YouTube on doing SEO and is going to take care of uploading the videos for you. That initial communication may be with the client as well. So yeah, that's like the SEO side of things. So that's one thing.
So this is specifically for, like, YouTube agencies, right? Um, doesn't necessarily apply for, like, other stuff, but I guess it could, if someone was doing a short form content agency, like, for them, it would translate as a guy who can do TikTok hashtags and, like, the posting on TikTok and Instagram, right? So editor,
Exactly.
distributor, and then what's next?
As you mentioned, it will be like maybe in general terms, it will be like a social media manager, if you want to call it like that, or a distributor.
Yeah.
Just someone that takes care of uploading, right? After that, I mean, it depends, right? But like after that, I will say probably it's a little bit tricky.
Sorry,
can you
you cut out for a little bit. You said project manager?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's good.
Sounds good. I was saying that it is a little bit of it is a little bit like tricky to explain, because it depends on the amount of clients, because you start to build like this pyramid, right? A lot of video editors, in my case, a lot of video editors, then a graphic designers, then the distributor, and then the project manager, and then a COO, and then you, blah blah blah. But so the video editor, the project the distributor, and after that, I'll probably say the project manager. I'll probably say the project manager, that is the one that is going to be able to coordinate things, to make sure everything stays on schedule, that is going to oversee the operation of the video editors that you may have, and the distributor. And the last thing is the graphic designer. So that's particular to my case. But yeah, I think that's applicable to most agencies as well.
Yeah, so this is more on the, for those of you guys who are not really familiar with the agency model yet, you have both the service delivery, which is kind of like all of these roles that Juan just mentioned. And then you also have the acquisition side of things, where you get more meetings and close clients. So like you need to retain them, obviously, and like deliver the service you are selling, but you also need to get new business in the house. So like, what do you think about that? Because my opinion is that until like 30K a month or so, like you can take pretty much all your calls. Like I don't think you need to have sales reps, because at the end of the day, like you're probably going to have the highest closing percent rate as the founder in the beginning. So I think like, yeah, at least until 20K a month, like you probably don't need to hire sales reps. But I do think an appointment setter, like someone who finds leads and messages them or sends the outreach, I think that's like something you should do pretty quickly once you are at like 5K a month or so, and you have an extra, like $500 to $1,000 a month to spend on that, because it's gonna like make your growth a lot quicker, in my opinion. And this is not only for agencies, by the way, but if any of you guys are doing like coaching business or consulting, like same applies there as well. So what are your thoughts on that? Like appointment setters and closers. Have you hired any of those?
That's a great thing to point out. I actually was, yeah, you're totally right. Regarding the team building, I was focusing more on the service delivery side of things, but you're totally right. Something that I have also learned is that you have to learn how to treat your agency, like thinking about it on multiple departments. So once it's like the service delivery side of things, that's going to be very specific to to the service that you're offering. And the other side of things is the client acquisition. So appointment setters, closers, as you mentioned, lead sourcing specialists, for example. So very important. Those are like the main areas that you always, like, the better you balance those, the better it will be. Sometimes that's why it is a little bit hard sometimes, like, to grow the agency, because it's finding that constant balance between the two. If you get too many sales calls and too many clients without proper systems and proper team, the service delivery will fail. So you will lose the clients that you get in the first place. And if you put all of your efforts in the service delivery, but you're stop getting clients, like, your agency is not going to grow, and it's probably going to what's the antonym of growth? Just going to decrease in size, or in revenue. Yeah, or decrease in size in revenue, because at some point some of those clients will leave you inevitably. So very important to have that in mind. For the growth side of things, the first thing that I personally do, that was very specific to me, was that I hired a lead sourcing virtual assistant. So basically, she scraped emails across the internet with a certain parameter that I gave her regarding our ICP, our like ideal customer profile, the target market. And after that, after she scrapes them, I send like all of the email campaigns. So that's one thing that you can do. Another one, it's also an appointment setter to just call DM people on multiple social media platforms. You can just think about the outreach scripts, constantly be testing marketing campaigns. Besides that, what else? I would say the last step is just hiring that closer. It's going to be very important, hiring up closer. I haven't gotten to that point, and I totally agree with you. As you are already past certain point, it doesn't make sense to just outsource that. You are not big enough yet. And also, I feel that sales call have a lot of benefits. First of all, it doesn't take you too much time. Second of all, helps you to really understand like the type of audience that you are talking to, hearing their language that you can then after use for your marketing campaigns, for your call outreach scripts. And also something that I will add to that, like client acquisition side of things, to that like department, is that all of that we just mentioned is going to be for the outbound growth. There's also the inbound growth that is something that I'm trying to focus on right now, that is through content. That is going to be your long-term play, that is going to probably deliver you the most amount of results, but it's a long-term play. So that's why I right now have my YouTube channel and are starting to build towards that area. But yeah, just outbound, inbound, and that creates like the whole outreach or growth department.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually want to come back to the outbound a little bit, because I think that's where most people need to start. But like, just to add on the inbound thing, like totally agree, because one of my best friends, Boyan, he runs an email marketing agency, and he was actually like a client of mine when I was running my YouTube agency for like half a year, or even a bit more, maybe. I don't remember exactly how many months we did together, but yeah, so I kind of like helped him set up his channel and like really get it started. It was like he was at a couple thousand subscribers, and this was like over a year ago. I don't even remember exactly how long, but like probably like a year and a half or so. Anyways, now he's at over 10,000 subscribers, and his channel is mainly about just email marketing, and he's doing like, you know, close to 8 figures a year. 8 figures a year. Not there yet, but like close to 7 figures a year. And he's getting all his leads from the YouTube videos, right? Like e-com brands finding his tutorials, booking in a call, and then he sells them on like $5,000 up to like $5,000 a month retainers, right? And yeah, he's like between, I think, like $60,000 to $80,000 a month with that agency. So that just shows like how powerful, yeah, inbound can be and building a personal brand can be. But for him, this took, you know, like almost 2 years to really build, or at least 1.5. So yeah, anyways, but going back to like outbound, and how you got your first couple of clients, like what kind of, I guess, yeah, do you have any tips on what have been some of the best performing? I mean, you don't have to give away, don't worry, all your stuff, but like what are some of your main tips on doing outreach and getting responses and meetings in this day and age? Because obviously, like, there's more competition than ever, but at the same time, if you're really good, you know, there's always going to be someone who gets the clients. Like, work needs to be done. So what is your best advice with all your experience and like the thousands and thousands of outreaches, you know, you've done and the team has done, to get your first few clients, you know, as soon as possible?
Yeah, that's like no, I have no problem at all. I love just sharing like things that I have learned to people, because that's exactly how I learned at first. So yeah, that's a very specific type of question. It's like a stage specific type of question. So for example, in your case, I think we right now are referring more to beginners, people that haven't signed their first clients yet.
Exactly.
If that is the case, yeah, if that is the case, I will focus on quality rather than quantity. Right now, I'm flipping the script just because at my stage, it's easier to close clients. Like, it's way easier. I just need someone to show interest, but if they have interest, I'll probably sign them, just because all of the track record of our agency, all of the social proof, like there's too many things that convince people that we are the right option when they are interested in a potential solution like ours. If you are starting, you don't have that yet. So it's very important that those person that you like, those people that you contact are going to get like connected with you, if that makes sense. What will I do? I'll focus on looms, on providing value, picking and selecting people that I think will be a good fit for my services, for whatever the services I am offering, and just focusing, 100, 200 of leads that you say are super qualified, and making sure that you are delivering as much upfront value as possible. So it could be, for example, in terms of a Loom audit on their website or their channel or their Instagram like account, whatever it may be, an audit, you giving them a specific value on how they can improve. It could be also on you, for example, let's say you are delivering, I don't know, like Instagram management or banners for a YouTube channel, whatever it may be. I mean, if you are selling banners, that's probably not a good strategy. But if you are selling like something recurring, send them like a little bit of your service. Let's say you are selling like social media management, send that person 3 posts of how will you actually like brand it, how will you actually make them, or just at least one, so that people can know that you're putting in the effort. You are not just someone else that is spamming them and wanting to take value out of them, but you are coming with value. And I'll say that instantly puts you on a better place. So quality outreach that rather than quantity at first for those first clients, I'll say it's a better move.
Yeah, I would say I agree for most people with that statement. So cool. All right, yeah, we covered I think we covered like a lot of ground on the agency side of things, but one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is, I remember when we first started working together, like when you were just starting out, you were partying quite a lot, like chasing girls a lot and all that. And I think that was like your biggest struggle, is you were just like stopping yourself. Like the limitation wasn't really your offer, or wasn't really like the know-how or whatever once we got clarity, but it was just self-sabotage. And that's for like everybody's biggest like I learned this over and over again, that everybody's biggest enemy is themselves. Right? Like I recently just went into a mastermind with people like in collectively doing like 10 million a year or whatever, between like 12 guys, like really high level stuff.
Mention some names, drop some names.
Yeah, I mean, I could,
I
I
saw
could.
your story, bro.
Yeah, like I don't know, people who know about the agency space, like Charlie Morgan. There was I met like the guy who was organizing it was William Brown. Mike Diamonds, he's like a big fitness guy. My friend Boyan was the one who actually like got kind of like convinced me to join. Anyway, so there were like a bunch of super high level people, like multi 7 figures a year. And even there, it's like, just realize there is not really like a secret sauce. It doesn't exist. There is not really any like hidden information out there. It's all just you versus you. Like how it's all about impulse control and like staying focused on the thing you want to do. So in the beginning, like, yeah, you were partying quite a bit, or you said like that always takes away your attention. And I want to ask, first of all, because we haven't talked about this, but like I want to ask, like, when you did the top month, which was like 40K, were you still partying leading up to that point a lot, or did you change your like habits a little bit? And I'm not saying that it's bad, but like I want to ask your journey, about your journey of like self mastery, kind of. I mean, it's
No,
far been
absolutely.
ongoing, but like how you improved in your impulse control and like your discipline, I guess.
I love it. I love the question. So first of all, like totally right, totally right. And up until like now, honestly, it's just a journey. So you learn to master that a little bit more. So at this point, it still affects me sometimes, like mentally, but I control it so much better now. One of the biggest things that I did, this idea came from a book that I was reading at that time last year, that was Atomic Habits, I think. And it's this concept of a environment design. So if you know that you are weak and you'll potentially fall into temptations, one of the most clever things to do is just to design an environment that will put a lot of resistance to get those things done, those things that that harms you. So I don't remember if we discussed this, but at that time I to another city, like to one city and then to another city, and that helped a lot because of course in that other city it's not like you don't have parties and anything like that, but at least I didn't have like my friends that were the ones that like it's easier to go out when you have like friends calling you,
Yeah.
friends texting you. I didn't have like that temptation in that other city, so
Mhm.
that was one of the main things. And by December I think I wasn't going out that much, to be honest. By December that I hit that first month, something that I do want to say that is also very important, and actually I'm going to be like posting a video about that. I just like did a quick rant recently. I'll be posting a video about that on my channel, but I basically talking about like how sometimes it's easy to trick yourself and get yourself into a bad path. What I mean by this is that, for example, something that was happening to me a few months back is that I was getting a little bit complacent because of the results that I have gotten. So in your mind and in your life, you start to see like this connection between the person that you are being and the behaviors that you are having in this present moment and the results that you are seeing. What I mean by this is that you're in a winning strike. You are winning and you are win after win after win, and you feel that that is going to continue forever, that that's just how things roll. But you forget that the reason why you are winning today is because of the labor that you put 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. And 6 months ago, you are grinding, you're focused. So right now, you're unfocused, you are doing unproductive action, you are not doing the right things, but you are reaping good. What you forget is that in 3, 4, 5 months ahead, you are going to reap the results of the actions that you are doing today. So that's something that's just like a side comment that I thought was
Bro,
important because
yeah. I just did a
does that
video
make
about
sense?
that. I just did a video about
Really?
that. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. Like exactly that. I saw this like first in a Sam Ovens video where like you know how with time your memory fades, but the results kick in once your memory is already faded. So like you
Mm,
it's so easy to fall into this trap where you actually do get results and then you stop doing the things that got you the results in the first place, and then you
yeah,
go back down. And that's something I also need to like always like remember and like catch myself, because it's like easy, yeah, to feel like it's gonna continue just going up and up even if you don't do shit. So totally. And one thing I
yeah,
wanted to ask about is like, or just kind of talk about is, you know, how like kind of sacrifice, I guess, and happiness, because a lot of people are, and this is something that's been like interesting me a lot, this topic of like happiness and overall or just like life enjoyment, because I realized like how much I enjoy my life overall and how happy I am overall is not really connected. Like when I'm getting closer to my purpose, and I'm on track, I'm doing the right things every day, where I'm uh yeah, moving in the direction I want to, I overall have a better life than when I optimize for happiness. Because the thing with happiness, or the thing is, it's not even like really definable thing, right? Because like what is happiness? Is it just like a pleasurable moment or feeling when you're like ecstatic? Because like the thing is, you can go to the club, take some ecstasy, and you're gonna feel fucking happy. Like you've never been happier in your life than when you're on drugs. Like it's crazy, right? But that's not real. That like you cannot get fulfillment and like actually being proud of the person that you see in the mirror. You cannot get that through partying or drugs or girls or hooking up or whatever, you know, all these things that are kind of generation and just people in general. Like people have done this forever, like all these things you get from instant gratification kind of, and optimizing for that. So like what are your thoughts on that? Because you know, you said it was hard for you kind of in the beginning to give up that partying phase and all that, but were you actually less happy when you gave up some of those things for a period, or like you minimize them in your life? Because with me, I realized like actually the more things I give up and the more stuff I throw on the fire, the happier I am. So I just need to focus on trying to keep that if I want to, like, or not the happier I am, but like overall the better I feel about life in general, and like the more I enjoy it, if that makes sense. Like I have less lows if I do the right things and I act kind of like in accordance with how, you know, God created man, so to say, like to sound like Tate.
No. I totally see what you're saying, and I agree. But I mean, do you have like any specific question about this, or just overall
Yeah, I
sharing
guess
thoughts?
like yeah, the question kind of was, I know I went on like a long ass ramble, so it wasn't a well defined question, but yeah, like when you gave up partying and those things that you said were like really hard for you to get rid of for a while or whatever, like, or like to minimize it at least, did you actually become less happy? Or I mean, again, hard to even define happiness, but like what is, I guess, what is your opinion on this topic of sacrifice? Because you cannot have it all, right? Like you need
Yeah,
to pick and
yeah,
choose
that's a good
between
point.
what you want in life. And it's
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, my man, yeah, as you mentioned, I'll say it's a matter of how you define things. It's however you define them. We'll probably get a different answer. But overall, what I do have noticed is that, bro, it's all about. I love the way that you put it previously. It's all about impulse control, because, like, rationally thinking, we know what's best for us. For example, in my case, I feel absolutely amazing, bro, when I do in a day everything that I know I need to do. I wake up early. I do my morning routine. Read, go take a walk, meditate, write, work, focus work on applying like Pareto principle, or on activities that I know are the most important ones. I don't know, go to the gym and enjoy a little bit of time with family, like do everything that I know will get me towards the goals that I have. I feel absolutely amazing, but it's a challenge and it's a battle to be able to do that every day, even
Yeah.
if after or during the time that I'm doing that, I'm feeling like, what's like fulfilled, whatever it may be. So it's, and the reason I think it's because of that impulse control that you mentioned. Our default, I'll say, or my default as person is just, yeah, I can wake up early, but I can be also a little bit lazy. 30 minutes, 1 hour more
Yeah.
on the bed. Yeah, I can go out to the walk, but out for a walk and take the sun and read. But I don't know. I just prefer to watch these podcasts on YouTube. You know. So it's about sticking to the things you already have defined and know that will get you toward the place that you want, and you'll feel fulfillment doing them. In my case, honestly, I have a very, I don't know if this is the proper term, but I have like very strong type of a, I think the word is like cognitive dissonance. I don't know if that's in English a proper word, but basically, whenever I'm not doing what I know I should be doing, I feel bad. Honestly, I feel bad. Even, bro, and that's the thing. But even if I feel bad at that moment, it's stupid because I couldn't control sometimes that impulse. So I was on the club sometimes, maybe partying and enjoying the time, but sometimes I have like, I was conscious in that moment. I was like, bro, this is stupid. I should be in bed right now to wake up early the next day. So I mean, it was kind of like a rant, but yeah, overall,
Yeah,
I think fulfillment. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know
does it make
what you
sense?
mean. Because the thing is, it's not that you shouldn't party or do anything fun. Because like, what's the point of even making all the money, right? Like, you know, it's not like, yeah, sure, it's a huge thing, and like when you have it, it's a blessing. But it's not like it's not gonna be the thing that makes you wake up early, like after a while. Like you're not you're like, I don't know. Once you have your needs met, it's not gonna be the thing that wakes you up and you're like, oh my god, let's make some money. Or like some people are like that. I actually know someone who's like one of the most successful person I know, and he's just like all in on it and like switched on. But even him, he's more I think into the growth, and it's just that his vehicle of growth is money and business. But what I'm trying to get to is that, like, yeah, like if you go to the club and you are not enjoying it because you are like, I should be doing something else, then you should be doing something else probably. It's like
Absolutely.
your conscience is always telling you what's kind of like best. It's like what you mentioned, but it's just so easy to give into the instant gratification, that's around us. And like, yeah, that's the main thing, to be honest, like that differentiates people's results. Like how well you can say no to those
Yeah,
feelings. Like if you can just do what you said you are going to do every single day for years, there is no way you will not be successful. Like zero way, right? It's all about
total
that.
agree. Total
So
agree. And especially, bro, I'll add to that. Especially, I am not, I don't know honestly if that's true for everyone, and I will explain my point in a little bit. But especially for people like at our stage, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all. I just mean that at this point, after you have figured out a couple of things and have maybe a little bit of experience and experience some quote unquote success in certain areas, for most part, you already have like that gives you a lot of clarity regarding your next steps because you already know a little bit of the things that work because of your previous experience, because you already have probably access to a network that knows and can give you advice on how to get to the places that you want. And at this stage, if you have that clarity, what is separating you with that goal is pure
yeah,
discipline and sticking to those things. Nonetheless, my point previously is that honestly, when I was just first starting, I don't know, like this whole journey, probably 7 years ago, when I first like my red book and all of that, all of this began, I was just figuring out. So probably if I was super disciplined, but I stick to doing wrong stuff, that
yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's why I
So
think I think that's why if you are not making a ton of money, and I mean like a lot of until you're not making like, you know, okay, not a ton, but like until you're not making like real money, like maybe six figures a year, you should invest pretty much everything you have, I think, into your, like if you have a job, you're making 3K a month, let's say, and you spend 1.5 on living or whatever it is, right? You should just put all your money into like buying access to information and networks because you don't know what to do, and that's your biggest expense. Like I like the way Alex Hormozy puts it, is your most expensive thing is like the most expensive thing in your life is ignorance, is ignorance. Like you not knowing how to make $1 million a year or 100K a year or whatever is costing you that much every single year. And like that's why even now on this mastermind I just mentioned, like I spent $10,000 on that. It was like a $10,000 mastermind for like 2.5 days, right? Like it's expensive as fuck if you really think about it. But I got to meet a ton of like new people who are at a different level than I am, and it really just like, well, first of all, it changes your perspective. Like when you shake hands with those people and when you talk to them and you see the real numbers on their Stripe, and it shows like 50K for the day, then you first of all internalize when you see it in real life, you realize like, oh shit, like it is actually possible, and it's not just like people on the internet talking shit. And also it makes you realize that they are no different than you. They just do different things, and you could be doing those things as well, doing those actions every day, and you can have it if you want to, right? It's just like up to you how bad you want the certain thing or a certain goal. But yeah, in the beginning, like just since I'm tying it back to what we were saying, like as long as you can just have impulse control and do the things you need to do for a long enough period of time, there is no way you will fail if you have clarity. And for that reason, I think like in the beginning you should spend your money on guidance or like self-education or masterminds or stuff like that, because there is no way with it that you can lose if you are willing to put in the work. So it's and if the person who's teaching it is actually legit and they have case studies and everything, because like if you think about it, it's like, you're not, it's not that you are saying yes or no to the coaching program or the mastermind. It's the decision is more about you making a bet on yourself because the process
yeah,
works, right? it's just like whether you bet on yourself that you are going to do the work. Because if you do the work, there's no way it's not going to work out. But that's the I know it's a little bit like philosophical or whatever, but do you know what I'm saying? And
Totally.
like in the
Totally
beginning,
agree.
you are making a bet on yourself when you buy something. And like even if you buy a shitty program as your first thing, like just the fact that you invested money actively and you bet on yourself, that is going to make 1,000% ROI or 100,000. Like first courses I bought or mentoring programs I bought or whatever, like were shit. Like I didn't take much away from it, but just the fact I actually invested into it and like bet on myself, got me to where I am and like got me on this journey. So, anyways, a bit of a rant, but
No,
um,
no, no, totally. I actually want to add to that, bro, because honestly speaking, like previously, I was like, overall, like this info product space or coaching programs don't have like a very good light from some people in the market, or the market overall is like there's like a not so positive light. And I
mhm.
was probably had partially some of that light, but something that I have come to realize, because usually what's like the biggest objection from that market, or in my case as well in the past, is that all of the info, like, why will I pay for information if all of the information is out there? Bro, that's
Yeah.
not true. I've realized that that's not true. Like, the reason that I say this is not true is because, for example, in my case, when I started the agency, I was doing outreach like totally wrong, totally wrong. Simply you the way that show me. I remember, like, I remember this vividly. How you sent me like some screenshots of how you were doing it and booking calls with clients. Literally, that single switch make it totally different from, like, for me, and put
Mhm.
me like in the right path. And that's something that I always say. Yeah, maybe the market will catch up at some point and you'll get that information that you want to get access to in a coaching program in the future. But by that time, the market or the real like leaders in that, the ones that are leading that industry, are going to be already in the next thing that is working and in the next thing. So having access to certain information could be super hard if you don't get it from the right people.
Yeah, but I
And
do think it's out there. Like I don't think there are any secrets. Like even with that, the methods, for example, I taught you or whatever, it was probably out there. It's just like you don't know like which one to pick because there's like an overload of information as well. And also
exactly.
the biggest thing is really just like I think the personalized help part. Like that's why I think coaching is great because you have so many options. You don't know which route to take and at what time. Like timing and also prioritization in terms of your like actions is so hard to figure out on your own or even from like free content because they're like everybody says something different. So yeah, but anyways.
No, no, no. Yeah, I see your point. I understand your point. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could be totally wrong. You're right. Maybe there's like information, but who
But yeah,
says you are
you
going to find it, right? Like, who
yeah.
says you are going to? It's and you mentioned something very important. There's just overload of information, so you never know where to pick. That's actually, I mentioned. We were we don't have to get into this, but we were discussing about, like, hey, bro, the recession and investments for
Yeah,
preserving
I wanted to
capital.
get into it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So yeah, whatever. I'll let you flow.
No, no, like yeah, that's basically you just messaged me like yesterday or today. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, about like what I'm doing with my money to like get ready for recession or the dollar going to shit or whatever. I have some thoughts on it, but I'm not an expert by any means. That's why I'm not a huge fan of giving advice on anything because I mean I don't give advice because like on stuff like this because I'm not an expert at it. But let's get into that a little bit. Like current times, I think I want to lead with this. Like if you haven't got started on your own business or making money in some way, like if you don't want to do your own business, you can be a freelancer as well and make a lot of money. You can make 6 figures as a freelancer or working for a great company. But if you haven't acquired the right skill sets, which are valuable in the marketplace, which is sales, like becoming kind of like a rainmaker, like learning how to make offers, sales, these are always going to be valuable skills, team management, always going to be valuable. If you are not making yourself a more valuable person and adding new skill sets into your arsenal right now, you're gonna be fucked with when AI really comes into effect at big companies as well, and when the market goes even worse and the inflation gets higher. Like if you're not actively making yourself more valuable, what are you doing, right? Like it's not going to be fun for you if you are not doing anything. So that's one thing I would go leading into the conversation. But what are your thoughts about like where we are right now and where we are going, and what are you doing to prepare? I guess, what are your thoughts? I'd be curious to hear as well.
Yeah, love that. So, I mean, well, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. That's something that scares me, to be honest. Not like only AI, but in general, not being enough like not having enough competency or competence about certain areas because of the big goals that I have. Right? I just have to be congruent. If you have big goals, you need to be that person that achieves them. So that's something that I'm always thinking, always trying to work on my deficiencies, becoming just more valuable for the marketplace overall and as a person, because that's something also aligned with what I have, with what I want. But yeah, I totally agree with you. To add to that, so specifically on the recession, yeah, I actually messaged you this, brother, and as like different friends that are also like in this online space. I always love to hear like different thoughts from smart people because that helps me analyze multiple perspectives and just take the best decision possible, right? So in my case, I do think personally that's something that I even told you, but I think that like rational optimism, the way that I will define it is just like expecting the best, but even like expecting the best, but preparing for the worst. That's just a methodology that I think will serve anyone well. In that particular case, I'll just be investing some of the cash that I have right now, some of that liquid, a certain percentage in different assets that I consider are more for preserving capital, not necessarily because I'm thinking to make like gains over the next few years with them, but at least they will hold their value. So that's one thing that I do want to say. One of the most, not even one of the things that concerns me is not only like the US dollar or currencies going down or to zero, whatever it may be in a ultimate bad scenario, but also like when banks start to limit the withdrawals, right? So a couple of things that I'm doing, I'll be investing certain portion of of my resources in liquid into gold. I'll also be splitting the cash that I have into like 3 different banks. So if one of those banks get limited on withdrawals, I will still have access to our cash in our parts. I'll be having like cash on my hands, not bank account, but cash on my hands. And I mean, on certain for some, this might sound like a little bit, what's the word? Like over preparation, if that makes sense. But I will definitely prefer to be over prepared than the contrary, right?
Yeah,
Just
for sure. I mean,
yeah.
with me, to be honest, the way I look at it is like I'm just gonna look at people who are further out, see what they recommend me. So, for example, I met a guy when I was in Dubai last month called Luke Balmar. I don't know if you know him, but yeah. So basically, what
Come
Luke?
on, bro. Really,
Yeah, yeah.
bro?
So
I
what?
in the mastermind.
No, it was actually like a random like a friend of mine randomly told me like, oh, Luke is doing like a meetup or whatever in this cafe in Dubai Mall. So I was like, all right, let's go there because we were already in Dubai Mall. So literally as we finished our dinner, like they were there. So we just like randomly went there and had a chat with him. Seemed like a great guy. Didn't get to talk much, but anyways, and he was saying like, you know, if you don't have like a ton of money stashed away right now, like I don't have millions put away, all right, I have a good chunk, like 6 figures, but um like solid amount of money put away, but like I'm not sitting on millions. So I'm basically, my main goal right now is just to not lose like all of that. So what I'm doing is basically just what he said is, and he's like, it's like buy gold. So for example, if you have like 100 grand, whatever, like let's say on 100 grand, like put 15K in gold, 15K in Singaporean dollars, which is like the least inflated currency in history, pretty much. Like 15K in Swiss francs, and maybe like 15K in USD or whatever. Like you can spread it, maybe 15K in Bitcoin. Like so, basically have some gold, have like Singaporean dollar, Swiss francs, and USD or euros, whatever you want, and some Bitcoin or some crypto. So like just diversify between these. Have a nice little nest egg. So if like either one of them really goes to shit, like you will have something to rely on the other side. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do with like a smaller, like relative, not a huge amount of money, but like a good chunk. So I have at least something if anything big happens. But I'm just mainly focused on like making more right now and growing my income. Because the thing is, like, sure, it's great if you make, whatever, 10, 20, 30, 40K a month, and you can put away a lot of money with that. But if you don't want to wait 20, 30, 40 years to become wealthy, like you don't go that far, even if you invest 10K a month or whatever, like, or it's pretty slow, right? Not saying that's not a great achievement. I think that's great, but like, if you look at all the most wealthy people, like a lot of them, they have a high earning capacity as well. Like all the guys I meet, they pretty much make, I don't meet anyone who's worth 8 figures who doesn't make at least 1 million a year as well, usually from their income. Like they all know at least how to make 100 grand a month from their skill sets. So my thinking right now is like, I'm just trying to increase my earning capacity and get to the point where I'm making 100, 200, 300K a month or even more profits through a business. And to do that, I really need to focus on like becoming a better leader, increasing my skill sets and like my skill bars, if it was like a video game, and not focus all my attention on how I'm going to multiply the little, like the small bucket of money that I've been able to put together with my income. So that's kind of my perspective on it. And in terms of like the AI takeover and all that, I'm thinking like, hey, we have this earth with all these people, and I'm still going to be competing against the same people. Like the playing field might change, AI might come into the picture or whatever, but like I'm still going to be playing against the same like intelligence of guys. They have the same discipline, all that. So I just need to focus on bettering myself, because I'm going to like I just need to outcompete the other humans. Because if AI fully takes over or whatever, everybody loses their job, then like it doesn't matter anyways. And if it doesn't, then I just need to compete against the other humans. And the best way to do that is just to focus on yourself, work out, read stuff, improve your knowledge, grow your business, whatever. So that's my point of view on this.
I
In a
love that.
nutshell.
That's a great perspective. Love that like thought process. Having heard it and makes a lot of sense. I like 100% agree regarding like that AI thing. If AI is going to be a tool, like and everyone has like access to that tool, the variable that will make the impact will still be you as a person. So just
Yeah.
focus on being more valuable. You. Yeah, I
It's all,
totally agree. Regarding
yeah.
bro, like I was like what's the word, the reason that I asked you about Luke, bro, I love the guy. I follow a lot of his content. Super smart guy. I don't know why you didn't like know him before. I'll send you a couple of videos from
I
him.
knew I knew his stuff. Like I watched a couple of videos from him, a couple of interviews. I like his stuff. I'm not like a follower, I would say,
Super, yeah,
but
into him. Yeah,
but yeah. Also, I don't know that much about his background, so I personally haven't made up my mind, or like I don't know much about his like legitimacy. But for
yeah.
sure, he says some really smart things. So I would assume he's like very successful and all that. But at the same time, like I'm always skeptical for the first part before I see like results and everything, because I know he doesn't, or I haven't seen him like really share the businesses he had in the past or whatever, but that's fine. Like, as long as he's providing good information or I'm learning from him, like I can learn from anyone. It's just like for me to really become like I guess a fan of someone, I also need to see like proof and previous businesses and all that. But
No, totally. I totally understand, and that's also like my case. In the case of Luke, like I mean, I guess also my connection is because I follow him for like a while now.
mm,
My e-commerce journey also kind of started with looking up to a lot of his advice, and that was,
okay,
I don't know, like way back, probably
cool.
2018 or 2019. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know. I
but
didn't know
yeah,
him, so I only
yeah,
saw
yeah,
his stuff. Anyways, kind of like back to the
yeah. This
topic.
was a tangent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, like back to the topic. That's kind of my thoughts on like the recession and all that. I think it's more important than ever to like focus on your mental space, focus on yourself. Like I think like stay close to your loved ones. I don't know. I don't want to be like the one giving advice because like I'm just as knowledgeable, I guess, as the next guy. Only thing is I like figured out how to grow some YouTube channels and like how to build small service-based businesses around that. And I apparently like I can help some people with it. But I'm by no means someone who knows everything, about life, and I'm only 20, so like I don't have that much life experience either. So who knows what's gonna happen? I might be completely wrong, but that's what I'm doing basically.
No, I love it. I love it. And I love Luke's advice as well. If you notice, like multiple of the things that I told you through chat are related to that as well. Buying
Hmm.
a lot of gold, buying like Swiss francs,
Yeah.
Singaporean dollars, and also going back to a topic that you mentioned previously. I think even for us, bro, of course, or for me, like I mean, this is a journey forever. But right now, I'll be investing a lot as well into coaching. I'll rather have knowledge from people that are ahead of me than dollars or whatever currency. So yeah, just leveling up.
Yeah, and it's also funny because yeah, like once you get into this whole rabbit hole of money and like how it's made, who controls the money and all that, you realize that money is actually kind of trash. In the fact that it's like if it can be printed, it can be made up, like then what is really the value of it? Like yeah, it has a value until people agree that it has a value. But then what happens once people, stop agreeing on the fact that they will take the US dollar as the main currency or whatever? I personally don't think like USD is going to fully collapse and all that, because the US, like as idiotic as they are right now in terms of their leadership and like as much chaos there is there and everything, like they still have really strong foundations in a lot of places and like a lot of power. So I don't think it's going to go to like zero, but I could see it devaluing it quite a lot more and all that. But anyways, is there anything else I guess you want to leave people with on this interview or podcast, whatever we want to call it? Yeah, like anything for people who are maybe like freelancers who are already making some money but want to get to the next level, or even just people who are beginners and want to do something similar to you. Yeah, any or anything you want to share, really. Doesn't have to
Yeah, I
be
mean,
anything dramatic.
yeah,
Whatever you want to share.
yeah. No, I do have something. A couple of things. I'll say that, especially, of course, this is going to be directed more towards something that is just starting. But honestly, like as cliche as it may sound, like work on yourself, read books. I love reading books, hear to podcasts, but actually, like something that I will say is do study them. Like not just read books for reading them or watch podcasts, because something that has happened to me in the past as well is that I just consume, but I'm not actually learning. I'm yeah watching valuable stuff, but I'm just using it as entertainment. So study, like really study, break down what people are teaching, take notes, try to implement those things that you learn. Study like success overall and personal development. I'll say that's the foundational things that you will do for everything else that you'll pursue later on. Second of all, if it is more business specific, hire as fast as possible. I think we actually discussed about this previously as well regarding just Naval's like pyramid of leverage. Pretty much the first level, not the first, but one of the first points of leverage that you can have as an agency owner, at least. So focus on getting that leverage. Just exchange your dollars, your currency for hiring people at first.
Sorry, you kind of cut out. You said the first one is labor, right? The first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, it's good now.
Sounds good. So yeah, the first one is labor. So and I mean not necessarily like the first one, but anyway, if you are like in the agency spaces specifically, focus on that leverage form at first. Hire people fast, as I mentioned. Hire good people, qualified people that will get you back your time. Focus on scaling. Focus on applying and following the things that you know are going to be growing your agency. And two last things. This is a challenge because, as we were also discussing, it's always about like discipline and impulse control. But two things I think will be something that I'll pursue mastery for the rest of my life are always prioritization, if that's the correct word, and also like Pareto principle. Once you get clarity, you know what you need to do. Even if you know what you need to do, you will have, let's say, on a daily basis, a lot of tasks to perform. Sometimes you will just pick the easiest ones or the ones that you like over the ones that you know you have to do and that deliver the most results. If you can master, for example, Pareto principle and always asking what's the smallest thing that you can do that will have the highest form of leverage or highest form of return, and you focus on those for a long period of time, your results you'll get ahead of so much of your competition simply because of that. So I mean, it was a little bit of advice, I would say, or not advice, just thoughts all over the place. But yeah,
it's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the channel, Juan. And for everyone who listened to this point, like, thank you for listening through this. It was quite a heavy podcast, but I think we covered like a lot of good stuff. So, if you just take advice on the stuff we talked about, you will probably make more money. And check out Juan's channel. I'm going to link it in the description. He's going to post, more valuable videos. So check it out. Thank you for watching, everyone, and see you in the next one. So if you enjoyed this and you are potentially interested in working with me together one-on-one, then go ahead and click the link below this video to schedule a free consultation to see whether you would be a good fit. This is only for people who are very serious about growing their coaching business or their creative agency and want to get to that next level. So book a call if you're interested, and I will see you in the next one.